Ladies and gentlemen, force yourself to level up. Let me ask you a question. How long will you let your feelings run your future? Because the truth is, if you want to rise to the next level, you've got to stop reacting and start reigning. Life doesn't wait for the emotionally weak. Success doesn't respond to excuses. It responds to discipline, clarity, and emotional mastery. You see, people are out here trying to level up their money, their relationships, their influence, but they're still letting anger, fear, insecurity, and doubt drive the car. That's why they crash. That's why they stay stuck. You don't need more motivation, you need more mastery. You've got to force yourself to level up when it's hard, when it hurts, and when no one's clapping for you. The path to power is paved with emotional control. And until you get that under control, every level you reach will break you before you can build on it. So today isn't just about leveling up. It's about learning to control the one thing that controls everything else, you. If you don't command your emotions will command your destiny. Your future doesn't belong to your feelings. It belongs to your focus. And until you realize that your emotions are either your fuel or your fire, you will stay stuck in cycles that sabotage your success. Look around. People are not failing because they lack skill. They're failing because they lack emotional control. You've got folks with talent, vision, and opportunity, but they throw it all away the moment life doesn't go their way. They panic in pressure, they react instead of respond, and they quit every time it gets heavy. But let me tell you something, growth feels like resistance. Leveling up will always test the strength of your emotional discipline. And if you can't master your mood, you'll never manage your moment. See, emotional control isn't about pretending you're not hurt, angry, scared, or tired. It's about not letting those feelings become your decision makers. Because feelings are real, but they're not facts. Just because you feel like giving up doesn't mean you should. Just because you feel offended doesn't mean you need to respond. Just because you feel discouraged doesn't mean it's over. Emotional maturity is what separates leaders from followers, champions from quitters, and winners from the ones still waiting on life to get easier. But here's the harsh truth. It doesn't get easier, you get stronger. Every successful person you admire had to master themselves before they could master anything else. They had to learn how to feel the fear and move anyway, feel the pain and keep showing up, feel the heat and still make the smart move. That's emotional intelligence, and it's a non-negotiable if you want real success, because emotions left untrained will talk you out of everything God has for you. Emotions will have you chasing comfort instead of calling, settling for average instead of pushing for excellence. And the worst part, they'll make it feel right. Your emotions will lie to you in the name of protection, but you've got to decide, do you want comfort or do you want calling? You can't have both. Life is spiritual, mental, and emotional before it ever becomes physical. The battle starts in your heart and mind, and if you don't win it there, you'll lose it everywhere else. That's why most people are stuck in cycles. They never took authority over their emotional triggers. They get angry, they lash out. They feel fear, they shut down. They feel doubt, they shrink. But kings don't move like that. Builders don't quit like that. High performers don't fall apart like that. They discipline their emotions before their emotions destroy their discipline. You want to level up, then start mastering what's going on in you, not just around you. Because what's inside you is what's shaping your results. Your emotions are either empowering you or enslaving you, and the difference is whether or not you're in control. If you want freedom, learn restraint. If you want peace, train your response. If you want elevation, embrace resistance. You cannot rise emotionally immature. The weight of success will crush what your emotions can't carry. It's time to stop letting your feelings hijack your future. You've been circling the same mountain for too long. It's not the world holding you back, it's your inability to process pain and pressure. Real growth begins when you stop reacting and start ruling. Command your peace, command your perspective, command your purpose. Because when you stop letting emotions drive, you start stepping into leadership of your business, your home, your finances, your calling. And don't misunderstand me. It's okay to feel, but it's not okay to let those feelings lead. You are called to lead them. You're called to speak to your fear and tell it where to go. Speak to your anger and choose patience. Speak to your sadness and still stand in faith. This is how you reclaim your power, by refusing to be emotionally manipulated by your environment, your circumstances, or even your past. Your emotional story is not your prison. It's your platform, but only if you take control. Because nothing great is built from emotional chaos. You want to be unstoppable. Start by being unshakable. Start by responding with discipline when everything in you wants to react with dysfunction. And don't wait for the moment to come. Train now, discipline now, heal now, so when the pressure comes, you don't fall, you rise. Force yourself to level up, and that means force your emotions to submit. Because if you don't, they'll run wild and wreck everything you've been building. And the craziest part is, no one will see the war you're fighting. They'll just see you didn't make it. So if you're serious about becoming the next version of you, the stronger, wealthier, wiser version of you, it starts here with your emotions. Master them, train them, discipline them, because the destiny God has for you is far too great to be lost over feelings that should have been checked, challenged, and changed. Growth ain't comfortable, but comfort never made anyone powerful. Let's get one thing straight. If you're waiting to feel ready before you grow, you'll be waiting forever. Growth was never meant to feel good. It was meant to make you great. But the problem is, most people are addicted to comfort like it's oxygen. They want the next level, but they don't want the pressure that comes with it. They want elevation, but they're not willing to endure the stretching, the sacrifice, the silent seasons, or the setbacks that are part of the growth process. But let me tell you something. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It's the graveyard of potential. Nothing powerful is born from comfort. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles are built through resistance, and leaders are forged in the fire of discomfort. So stop expecting the next level to be easy. If it were easy, it wouldn't be a level up. It would just be a sidestep. And don't confuse peace with ease. Peace is internal, but growth is always external pressure. That tension you feel, that's your old self trying to survive while your new self is trying to be born. That's the tug of war between who you've been and who you're called to become. You can't serve both. One has to die, so what's it gonna be? You staying small just because small feels safe? Or are you willing to go through the pain of transformation so you can taste the power of purpose? See, real power isn't given, it's earned. And it's earned through every moment you choose pressure over passivity, sacrifice over safety, and calling over comfort. But most people will never experience their full potential because the moment it starts to hurt, they back down. They quit the gym when it gets sore. They walk away from the business when it slows down. They exit the relationship when it starts demanding growth. They retreat instead of rising. But here's the truth. Growth will cost you your comfort, and the quicker you accept that, the quicker you move. Comfort tells you to stay where it's familiar, but growth pushes you into what's faithful, what's fruitful, what's fulfilling, but it doesn't feel good at first. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like being lonely. It feels like making decisions that people around you won't clap for. But if you're always looking for comfort, you'll stay surrounded by people who never left the level you're trying to grow past. That's why some of you are stuck, not because you don't have potential, but because you're still listening to people who are married to comfort. You want to know who's really growing. It's the ones who are willing to look crazy, feel pain, and still keep going. They show up when it's inconvenient. They study when no one's watching. They sacrifice sleep, parties, and approval because they know purpose pays back what comfort never could. They don't just chase success, they chase transformation. Because they understand this truth, before life upgrades you, it will test you. It will see if you can handle pressure without panic, if you can keep building even when you're breaking, if you can walk forward with fear sitting in your gut, but faith leading your steps. That's growth, that's power, that's how you become someone who's not just changed temporarily, but transformed permanently. You think comfort is your friend. No, it's a trap. It whispers, take it easy, you've done enough, just rest a little longer. But meanwhile, someone else is getting up earlier, staying focused longer, pushing past their limits while you're stuck in a false peace that's actually disguised stagnation. Don't let comfort trick you into average. You're not called to survive, you're called to dominate, and that domination starts when you learn to embrace discomfort like a training ground, because the pain you feel today is preparing you for the weight of the blessing tomorrow. You want more income, you better be ready for more inconvenience. You want influence, be ready for more pressure. You want freedom, be ready to fight for it when nothing around you looks free. Power doesn't show up when you're chilling. It shows up when you refuse to quit under pressure. So stop waiting for a perfect moment to grow. The moment is now. The pressure is now. The discomfort is now. And if you're feeling it, good. It means you're close. Close to breaking through, close to rising, close to becoming the version of you that your comfort zone could never produce. Just know this, your comfort zone is not your home, it's a holding cell. You weren't born to stay safe, you were born to soar. And every time you resist growth for the sake of comfort, you delay your own destiny. So make the decision today, not to run from discomfort, but to train in it. Let it shape you, mold you, sharpen you. Because when you look back, it won't be the easy moments that defined you, it'll be the tough ones you didn't run from. And that's the day you stop living by your limits and start living by your leadership. Comfort never made anyone powerful, but growth did, and it still does. You can't elevate your life until you dominate your internal world. You want to elevate your life, then start by cleaning house on the inside, because no matter how high you aim, how big your dreams are, how loud your affirmations get, none of it matters if your internal world is in chaos. You can't build skyscrapers on cracked foundations. And most people are frustrated not because life's not working, but because they're not working on themselves. They're trying to elevate their income, their influence, their relationships, yet their thoughts are toxic, their identity is shaky, their beliefs are broken, and their self-talk is destructive. That's like trying to fly with chains wrapped around your wings. Listen, you don't rise higher than your mindset. You don't lead stronger than your level of self-awareness. You don't live greater than what you believe about yourself. That's why real transformation starts where no one sees it, in your mind, your habits, your attitude, your internal structure. You've got to go to war with the lies you've believed, the limitations you've accepted, the trauma you've normalized, and the stories you keep replaying that keep you small. Because the life you want isn't waiting for you out there, it's trapped inside the version of you you've been afraid to become. And until you dominate your internal world, you'll sabotage every opportunity God sends your way. You'll keep pulling yourself back when life's trying to launch you forward. You'll talk yourself out of rooms you were born to own. You'll disqualify yourself with doubt, overthinking, and self-pity, not because you're unworthy, but because your internal dialogue told you you're not ready. But hear me today. You can't lead the world if you haven't first learned to lead yourself. And leading yourself means mastering what you think, how you feel, and what you believe when no one's watching. It's not about acting strong in public, it's about becoming unshakable in private. That's how you level up. That's how you build power that doesn't crumble when the pressure comes, because elevation without inner healing is a setup for destruction. What good is promotion if you're still battling old patterns? What good is exposure if your insecurity is still louder than your confidence? What good is success if your mindset still sabotages every win? That's why you've got to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Every barrier in your external life has a root in your internal life. That fear, internal; that inconsistency, internal; that lack of discipline, that procrastination, that imposter syndrome, it's all internal. You want to dominate in life, then dominate in thought, dominate in focus, dominate in intention. Build inner strength so strong that nothing external can shake you, and that takes work, daily work. You can't dominate your internal world by accident. You've got to train for it. That means filtering what you let in, what you watch, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with. It means challenging your own beliefs. Are they rooted in truth or in trauma? Are they serving you or stunting you? It means taking accountability for your patterns and refusing to be a victim of your own thinking, because your inner world is your headquarters, and if the control room is messy, don't be surprised when the mission fails. Think of your mind like a garden. If you don't plant intention, you'll grow weeds. If you don't water purpose, you'll get problems. If you don't prune your habits, they'll choke out your future. But when you commit to dominating your internal world, something powerful happens. You begin to walk in rooms with authority, not arrogance. You begin to pursue goals without the fear of failure. You begin to show up even when you don't feel like it, because your mind has been trained to lead, not lag behind. This is what separates people who rise from people who remain. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not resources, it's internal domination, because no one can consistently outperform their internal programming. And if you don't rewrite the code, you'll keep repeating the cycle. That's why some people grind hard and still don't grow, because they're working on everything except themselves. But once you turn inward and take control of your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, your vision, everything outside starts to shift, doors open, confidence grows, clarity comes. Why? Because the battle is no longer between you and life, it's between the old you and the new you. And you've decided who's going to win. Elevation becomes effortless when your mindset matches your mission. Power flows when your inner world becomes a place of strength, not struggle, and freedom. That's the byproduct of a person who no longer lives in reaction, but in rulership. So if you want to break limits, change levels, and experience the life you were designed for, don't start with strategy, start with self-mastery. The outside will never rise above what you dominate on the inside. So make the decision right here, right now, to own your internal world, because until you do, the life you desire will always stay just out of reach. But once you take that throne on the inside, nothing can stop you from rising on the outside. Discipline is the bridge between the pain of now and the power of tomorrow. Discipline ain't glamorous, but it's the difference between wishing and winning, between dreaming and dominating. Everybody wants the reward, but nobody wants to cross the bridge. And make no mistake, the bridge is built with discipline. You can't shortcut your way to power. You can't cheat your way to greatness. You either suffer the pain of discipline today or the pain of regret tomorrow. There is no third option. Most people don't fail because they don't have talent. They fail because they couldn't stay consistent long enough to win. They quit too soon, changed course too early, got bored too fast, or got distracted by something that promised instant gratification but delivered nothing in return. Let me tell you the truth. What you do daily determines what you become permanently. Discipline is the decision to stay committed when your feelings have left the building. It's the act of showing up when your body is tired, when your emotions are all over the place, when your mind is screaming for comfort. It's putting purpose over pleasure, mission over mood, and destiny over distraction, and that is exactly why so few people make it across the bridge, because discipline doesn't feel good at first. It feels like sacrifice. It feels like saying no to your cravings, cutting off time. Wasters, waking up early, doing the hard things over and over again with no applause. But hear me, it's the most powerful investment you can make in your future. Because the version of you that wins, that person is built in the dark, in the discipline, in the daily grind when no one's watching and no one's clapping. If you want power tomorrow, then you've got to pay the price today. Power isn't inherited, it's earned, and it's earned in the decisions you repeat. Every time you choose discipline, you get stronger. Every time you delay gratification, you build resilience. Every time you stay focused, you move forward. See, discipline isn't a feeling, it's a system, it's a lifestyle. It's what separates the person who dreams from the person who delivers. And you don't need motivation to be disciplined, you need standards. Because motivation is seasonal, but standards are sacred. Discipline says, I do it anyway. Discipline says, I'm not ruled by comfort. Discipline says, I can trust myself to do what I said I'd do, no matter how I feel. And the more disciplined you become, the less you rely on emotional highs. You stop needing hype. You stop chasing the next hit of inspiration. You stop living by vibes and start living by values. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the power it produces is eternal. It builds credibility with yourself. It earns you trust in rooms where talent isn't enough. It creates a track record of excellence that opens doors no one else can walk through. And yes, it hurts sometimes. Yes, it costs you your comfort, your excuses, your laziness. But that pain is birthing something. Power, freedom, confidence, clarity. You want to be elite, then do what average people won't do. You want to rise, then build your life on structure, not on how you feel when you wake up. Because discipline doesn't lie. It pays back every ounce of sacrifice with strength. It turns your pain into progress, your frustration into focus, and your fatigue into fuel. You can cry and still be disciplined. You can fail and still be disciplined. You can feel fear and still show up with discipline. That's what separates the few from the many. Discipline is bigger than emotion, and hear this, every time you choose discipline, you take ground from your old self. Every rep, every page read, every dollar saved, every temptation rejected. It's not just an action, it's a declaration. You're saying, I'm no longer a prisoner of my past patterns. You're saying, I choose who I'm becoming over who I've been. That's the bridge right there. That's the path from pain to power, but you've got to walk it. No one can carry you across. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. Discipline walks even when it's raining, even when you're broke, even when you're misunderstood. Because discipline understands something most people don't. Your future deserves more than your excuses. So every time you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started. When the pain of now screams loud, let the vision of tomorrow scream louder. That future version of you, the one who's strong, wealthy, focused, unshakable, that version is waiting on the other side of your daily discipline. Don't rob your future because you don't like how discipline feels today. Build the bridge, walk it daily, own your time, own your energy, own your habits, because if you don't, someone else will own your life. So stop talking about next level and start acting like it. Discipline is your access key, and it doesn't show up when it's easy. It shows up when it's inconvenient, when you're tired, when it doesn't make sense. But every time you choose it, you rise. Every time you lock in, you gain ground. Every time you push through, you build the muscle that'll carry your purpose. The pain of now is real, but so is the power of tomorrow, and the bridge is yours to build. Every next level requires a stronger version of you, and that strength starts in your mind. If you're serious about rising to the next level, stop asking what you need to do and start asking who you need to become. Because elevation is never about more activity, it's about more identity. And every level you want to step into has a gatekeeper. It's not life, it's not luck, it's not other people, it's you. The current version of you was only built to survive the level you're standing on right now. But the level above you, that one requires someone stronger, sharper, and more self-aware. And that strength doesn't begin in your muscles, your money, or your mouth. It begins in your mind. Your mindset is the engine behind your evolution. Until you upgrade the way you think, you will stay stuck repeating the same cycles with different circumstances. Every time you level up, your identity must be rewired to match the weight of the assignment. New levels bring new battles, new resistance, and new demands. And if your thinking is still shaped by fear, by the past, by limitation, by insecurity, you'll keep shrinking when life calls you to expand. You don't rise by default, you rise by design. That means you must intentionally develop mental strength, emotional stamina, and unshakable clarity, because success doesn't visit the confused, power doesn't partner with the passive, favor doesn't follow the fearful. You have to become a version of yourself that is no longer at war with growth. You have to stop sabotaging opportunities with small thinking and fragile confidence. You have to kill the belief that says, "I'm not ready," and replace it with, "I was born for this." But that doesn't happen automatically. It happens when you do the work to strengthen your mind daily. The problem is, most people try to step into new rooms with an old mindset. They try to lead with broken identity. They want overflow while still thinking in scarcity. They want freedom but are still mentally chained to their limitations. And then they wonder why they don't break through. Hear me. The breakthrough starts in the mind. It starts when you declare that fear is no longer your default. It starts when you train your thoughts to align with your purpose, not your past. It starts when you stop borrowing beliefs from broken people who never built anything. If you want to go higher, you have to think higher. That's why some people never grow. It's not because they're not good enough. It's because they're not thinking strong enough. You can't take weak thoughts into strong environments. You can't carry doubt into divine territory. You can't lead others if you're still mentally enslaved by voices of the past. Strength starts in the mind. You want more discipline. Think stronger. You want confidence. Think stronger. You want wealth. Think stronger. Every outcome begins with a mindset that was trained, tested, and transformed. This is where true elevation happens, not in the spotlight, but in the secret place where your thoughts are shaped and your identity is forged. Because every level requires a version of you who no longer apologizes for thinking big, showing up bold, and walking in authority. You can't stay emotionally fragile, spiritually confused, or mentally scattered and expect to dominate. At the next level, excuses don't survive, victim thinking doesn't survive, drama doesn't survive. You either evolve or you repeat, and evolution takes inner strength. It's built in the moments when you choose faith over fear, strategy over emotion, clarity over confusion. It's built when you shut down distractions, sit in silence, and rewire your beliefs to reflect who you're becoming, not who you were. The next version of you thinks different. They don't panic when pressure comes, they plan. They don't shrink when opposition rises, they stand. They don't chase validation, they own their value. That strength isn't fake, it's forged through intentional thought, consistent discipline, and unrelenting focus. And guess what? No one can give it to you. You have to build it. You have to go inside yourself and confront the fear, face the doubt, challenge the comfort. You have to tear down every mental ceiling that's been placed on your potential, by people, by past pain, by old programming, and replace it with truth, with power, with vision, because you don't rise beyond what your mind can hold. So if your vision is big, your mindset has to be bigger. If your calling is heavy, your thoughts have to be stronger. If your future is rich, your inner world has to be disciplined. Every next level demands it. And if you don't become it, you'll either fall short or get there and not be able to stay. And let me tell you, it's worse to touch greatness and lose it than to never touch it at all. That's why this is not optional. This is not a motivational moment, it's a mental mandate. You must grow stronger in your mind so you can carry the weight of your assignment with grace, with power, and with stability. The people counting on you need a version of you that doesn't fold. The dreams you've seen in prayer need a version of you that doesn't run. The destiny with your name on it needs a version of you that shows up ready. Not just physically, but mentally unbreakable. So decide now. No more small thinking. No more fragile identity, no more mental weakness. The next level is here. The gate is open, but only a stronger you can step through it, and that strength, it starts in your mind.